catch you, and it shows that set your soul on fire. Hey, hey, don't nobody get in my way. I get up, I wanna make my play. I said, hey, hey, don't stop, I gotta move. I got the devil himself riding at my shoes. It's gonna get you, I'm going back to you. You feel your temperature start to rise. Now you got it, you can't stop it. This virus make you come alive. Feel my body shaking, feel my heart racing at the speed of sound. I sleep when I'm dead, 'cause I can't slow down. I sleep when I'm dead, 'cause I can't slow down.
Hey everyone, this is Alex Linebrink with Passage Ticketing, and I am super pumped to talk to you guys today. I run Passage and the platform that we have here, and I started it back in 2014, and our mission was to service the underserved and help people out with unique ticketing needs. And I can't think of a more unique ticketing need than what's going on right now in 2021. It's been a crazy year over the last little bit here. And I'm super excited just to be back at it, to have events starting back up. And that's what we're here to talk about today. A little bit of how things are going to look when they start back up in the next, few weeks, few months, few seasons here. How we're going to cope with that, what we can do to keep our players and our fans feeling safe and comfortable in the environment that we've got. And we'll certainly be answering any questions. So throw those out there. We'll be talking about ways to actually increase your revenue, even when capacity isn't at full steam here. And, some different ways to reach fans, that might be not in the immediate area too. And then finally, we're wrapping it all up with a few resources in this new pandemic world that we live in right now that you might be able to use to help better things over time. So thanks a ton for joining. Thank you, Shadid and Steven and Kat, who have chimed in on the chat already. I do see those as we go. This is all absolutely live. So please feel free to leave questions in there as time goes on. There is a little bit of a delay. It's like a 1-minute delay or something on the broadcast. So if I don't get to them right away, just give me a second. I'll try to check back in at different stop points throughout and that sort of thing. But with that, let me go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to get this started on the presentation here. All right. So as mentioned, this is Sports in a Pandemic, and we're going to talk about increasing revenue and keeping fans safe, even in the middle of a pandemic here. So number one, we're going to cover who is Passage Ticketing. That's us, the presenters here. Obviously, we want to be involved. We want to help you get to the next level and reach more fans and sell more tickets this year. But I think a lot of these tips and tricks will work even not applied to the Passage system. So if you're using another ticketing system or have other events going on, they should work there as well. But of course, we want you to work with us and hope that that's going to be the route that you take. Number two, we're going to talk about keeping your fans and teams safe as you welcome them back. Number three, we're going to talk about increasing revenue and growing your fan base even when in-person attendance is limited. And number four, of course, a special offer so that we can hopefully earn your trust and get you onto the Passage system this year if you're not already there. And I know, some of you guys in chat here certainly are already there. And one quick note, I'm going to throw this actually at the bottom as a banner here. We are actually supporting Don't Be a Monster today. They are an anti-bullying organization and effort that has spread across the U.S. and really starting to spread around the world. And we think it's a great cause, especially in such a strange world. Bullying is the last thing that anybody wants to have to worry about. So if you want to donate to them, feel free to hit that donate to Don't Be a Monster button. That should be right under the chat if you're on desktop, or you might have to scroll just a little bit farther down if you're on mobile there. So don't forget about that one. And that'll also give you an example of how donations can work in your fundraisers, because this is all on the Passage platform. So we're hoping you're going to use this for virtual access as well. All right, jumping into it. Who is Passage? Passage is the company that I run, and we are a platform that powers event ticketing, payments, and other technology for reaching more fans and selling more tickets, both online and at the door. So we do this right now. We have events up and running at this day in 48 different states. We sell tickets to over 1,500 sporting events and teams every year. And we reach over 1 million sports fans a year. That number is actually always increasing. It's more like 1.5 million now. So number is always going up here. And just to give you a real quick overview, here is a 60-second video that's going to kind of show you a little bit more about Passage and exactly what we do and what we can offer. And this is the end of the sales pitch after the 60 seconds here.
Tell me, can you feel it? Here comes the fever. We got an epidemic growing wild. It's coming at ya. It's gonna catch ya. And it shows that set your soul on fire. Hey, hey, don't nobody get in my way. I get up, I wanna make my play. I said, hey, hey, don't stop. I gotta move. I got the devil himself fighting at my shoes. It's gonna get ya. I'm going back to you. Feel your temperature start to rise. Now you got it. You can't stop it. This fire is making you come alive. Feel my body shaking, feel my heart racing at the speed of sound. I sleep when I'm dead, 'cause I can't slow down. I sleep when I'm dead, 'cause I can't slow down.
All right, that was the quick overview video there. And one of the last parts that you saw in that video, whoops, we don't want to play it again. It's just that we are the proud ticketing partner of tons of different leagues out there and platforms. So we're the official ticketing platform of the USL League 2, NPSL, UPSL, UWS, OVPL, the Roja League, and several others that we've actually added since this slide deck was put together in the last few weeks. The Women's Developmental Basketball Association, and what was another one? The Midwest Premier League are two recently that have come on. And the cool thing here is that we do have a ability to do white label ticketing portals for these different organizations and leagues. And we do have them set up with all of these. And if you have a league out there that you're working with, we'd love to work with you guys as well. So with that, on to part two, which are the tips and tricks that you guys have come for here, keeping your fans and teams safe and confident as you welcome them back. So what is 2021 going to look like? Well, we know a few things for sure. And, we put together a little bit of a resource guide that we're going to send out after this is all done. You'll get that in the next day or two here. You can copy down that URL right here as well, that pass.ag/reopen-sports. Whoops, I clicked away here. And that article, that blog post that we put together here is really a resource for what could be happening and changing this year versus years past. Kat on her team has put this together, and it's a great overview from everything from that we're going to talk about today, but for contactless payments and scanning and all that sort of thing, physical distancing, different regulations in different areas. And I just really encourage you to check this out and use this as a resource. We have a few others that we'll be able to send out after this is all done as well. But a few things to know. Number one, masks. This is very possible that we're still going to be wearing masks when games start back up this year. It may happen in some areas and not others. It all depends on your local restrictions there. So that's a very big possibility. Another one, low contact admissions. This is definitely something we're going to want to strive for, right? Some sort of way to not be touching the same things when we're admitting people, and or to keep well cleaned in between and have the sanitizers in place and all that sort of thing. Low contact experiences at the games, is few touch points as possible wherever possible when it comes to scanning tickets at the door, or transferring money later at concessions, or getting in an area to go get seated. All of those we're going to want to keep low contact. There'll probably be social distancing that people are going to want to take into account for. This could be for standing in line to get in the gate. It could be for concessions. It could be in actual seating and actually keeping a distance between groups. Mobile ordering where possible. And of course, safety is going to be top of mind. So keep that one in mind. But one positive note here is that people have been cooped up for a while and fans are eager. So we saw this in the fall. There was a dip in cases back in the fall, and we saw some really amazing things. People were just excited to get out of the house for a little bit when they could feel safe, especially with outdoor events, which most of what we're talking about today is going to be in that outdoor category. And so no matter what your capacity, I think you're going to see a lot of fans really excited to come back. In the fall, we saw increases of 30 to 40% over standard attendance at events that we were doing ticketing for. 30 to 40% more attendance because people were excited to get out. And I think we're already starting to see the same for ticket purchases for spring going into summer events. So keep that one in mind. You will have a lot of excited people that are excited to get out. They're going to want to support you, their home team, but you also need to be ready for them because of that. So we need to think about some of these things that we're talking about today in advance, just to make sure we're ready for those folks. So best practices, keeping safe and welcoming everybody back. Best ticketing and payments practices. So number one, on talking about some of that unnecessary contact, we want to limit all unnecessary contact between staff and fans. That's the first thing I want you to consider here. There are a few ways to do this on the actual checkout and transaction process. Number one that's going to help is online ticketing, right? If you're selling the majority or all of your tickets online, then there's going to be very little contact on actually giving somebody money and handling that cash or card and receiving tickets back. So with online ticketing, you can actually get those tickets online and then scan them at the event. We have a really nice platform set up for this that we can scan tickets in 0.2 seconds per scan, which is faster than Ticketmaster, faster than tickets.com, and just about every other system out there. So keep that one in mind. If you're thinking about using us, it's going to be lightning fast to get people through the door. We already do it with crowds of 10,000 plus at some of the games that we do ticketing for. And this is your opportunity to have that lightning fast ticket scanning, which is going to keep the line from backing up. And this can also be done at a distance. So you don't have to scan by touching the barcode scanner there or something like that. We can do that at 1, 2, 3 feet away, even depending on the equipment that you're using. But it works pretty well in that 1 to 2 foot range, which is plenty to avoid the actual contact. But most systems will have some sort of ticket scanning. Just make sure it's fast and it's going to be able to take a distance and not actually have to handle that individual ticket here. Another one to think about is contactless payments. If you do want to actually accept payments at the door, you might think about actually having contactless payment systems. And what do I mean by that? I actually have an example here on the screen of that Passage card reader that you can see there. That is a contactless Bluetooth card reader that you can attach it to the back of your device, such as a phone or iPad or something like that, tablet that's running our app and our point of sale app. And other people have similar systems, but you actually don't even have to attach it because it connects through Bluetooth. So it itself is contactless, but it also accepts contactless payments. What I mean by that is you don't have to, it will accept a swipe card, but you don't have to grab that card and swipe it or insert it necessarily. For any card that is contactless enabled, you can simply tap to pay that card, which in effect, actually, you don't even have to tap. You can just hold it directly above it within like an inch or so of the distance there. And our reader will accept that. So the customer never has to release their card. They never have to hand it to you. And the other way that works is with mobile payments. So you can pull up Google Pay or Apple Pay on your device here and just hold that above the reader, and it'll sense that tap to pay, that NFC, over the air payment there, and it'll accept that payment as well. One of the deals that we have for you today is we're actually going to give you one of those readers for free if you're interested in it. But a lot of people have readers that work like this as well. Square and PayPal have options like this. So I just recommend making sure that any option you use for payments this year has that contactless capability, that NFC payment capability if you're looking for how it's spelled out. But really contactless, most people will say that. And hopefully we'll accept Apple Pay and Google Pay as well. And another thing to think about here, and we actually have a few teams doing this, is the ability to actually have just a sign. So you could tell people that you're only doing online ticket sales, but they don't necessarily have to pre-buy. So you could just have a sign up at the event that says, sorry, we don't have, checkouts at the event, but you can just scan this QR code with your phone and purchase a ticket right here while you're at the gate. And then you'll be able to show that, and we can scan that from our phone here. And again, we have that super fast ticket scanning. It doesn't care if the ticket is printed out or pulled up on a mobile device. We can scan that in 0.2 seconds per scan. But this up here, having that sign with a QR code that they could scan, is a great way to just get people to self-checkout at the door without having any interaction with your customers there, or with your staff there. All right, moving on to the next phase here. Keeping safe, best practices. Help guests social distance wherever possible. This is a key one. Everybody's been talking about social distancing for the last year and saying how big of a benefit this is to just limiting any transmission of any virus that's out there. And I think that's going to be on people's minds for a while, even after everybody gets vaccinated and that sort of thing. People will be thinking about social distancing. We've been training for a year on this, and it's pretty ingrained in our processes now. So I think people will, even if it's subconsciously, be thinking about this for quite a while. And a lot of regulations are still revolving around this. So if you want to get started sooner than later, you're probably going to have to meet those regulations. And there are a few ways here that we can help out, and that I think you can pay attention and help guests with that. So number one, limiting your inventory. You will often be forced to do this right now based on local regulations. You'll have to say that we're only doing, 20% if that's what it is in your area, or 30%, capacity, maybe 50 as time goes on here. So that's number one, and that's going to help keep the number of people less. So you're not packing in these huge crowds. You'll have an opportunity to social distance. It helps. Number two is potentially marking out bleachers and or line spacing. So when people are coming up to the line to get in and scan their tickets in at the door, you could actually have that marked out, have those 6-foot markers marked out, have little stickers on the ground like this one that says, "Thank you for practicing social distancing. Stand here, you're the next one up after this." And that'll keep people from cutting in between those, or at least give others a reason to yell at them if they try to cut in between those spots there. And it'll just make it all clear to people. Any guidance you can give is super helpful. And you can also do that on bleachers. So you can section those out to where you actually have, a 6-foot, or whatever distance you think is appropriate there, or appropriate for your regulations. Have that right on those bleachers in some sort of tape that it'll be, hopefully weatherproof and stick around there, or even a chalk or spray paint on the bleachers themselves. But you can also do this with your ticketing platform if you're doing something like assigned seating. So we have the ability to actually leave distance between seats here. So when 2 people book, it will automatically add a buffer space of 2 seats before anybody else can book. So if they try to book closer than those 2 seats, our system won't let them. And you can set that to 3 seats or 5 seats or something like that you want in between every group. But that way you don't have to make people choose their group size in advance. I know these ones are mostly 2s. There's a 3 back here, but like people can choose any size group that they want. Maybe you set a maximum or something like that, but it'll automatically leave whatever designated space in between those groups you like. And that a lot of times can really help out in between there. And Steven, yeah, absolutely. This video is going to be on demand. Thanks for the question. He asked, will you send us this presentation afterwards? 100%. We're going to follow up in the next day or 2 with an email with a lot of resources and a link to the recording of this presentation. So don't worry about that at all. In fact, this will be one way you can get there, is actually to come back to the exact page you're on. So just save this link and you'll be able to get back here. I'll have it just posted on this page to be able to get back to. All right, so now on to part 3, growing your revenue and reaching more fans in a pandemic. So we've gone through some ways to keep people safe. Now, what about revenue? Even with limited in-person attendance is the key here, right? Because we're all worried, like, how can I make money if we're only talking about, 20% capacity or things like that? Well, I'll tell you, the key is in the online ticketing. Now, you can have options at the door too, and a lot of these are going to be applicable to at the door sales as well. But the key is in online ticketing. I'm going to show you some really big tricks there. But why is the key in online ticketing? There are a couple reasons. So we have done tons of both online and at the door ticketing. And over the years, we have run the numbers, and I don't exactly understand why, but people tend to spend about 81% more online than they do at the door. It's exactly 81% more online than they do at the door. Now, I don't know if this is because they don't feel rushed or they don't see the dollar bills coming out of their pocket. Not a shrink, you guys. Your guess is as good as mine, but it's real, and the numbers hold up year to year. People spend more. It might vary a few percent, but it's always a significant amount, usually around that 80% mark, more that they spend online versus at the door. So we don't care about why the reason is. We care about how you take advantage of that, right? How do you maximize that? Well, one, you need to be selling as many tickets as possible online. If any of those reasons are true, they don't see the money coming out of their wallet, they don't feel rushed, they're not waiting in line, all that sort of thing. They have time to call their buddy and invite them to go. Any number of those things, we want to take advantage of that and make the customer feel more comfortable. So one, do online sales. Two, on your online sales, offer upsells. We have the ability to offer people merchandise. You can offer parking passes for sale. You can even offer the option to give donations to your favorite organization, just like we have over on the virtual access side here under the chat. You can support Don't Be a Monster and their anti-bullying causes. Don't forget about that. But on the upsells over here, it could be parking passes, donations, concessions credit. Think about that one as well. Concessions credit. Why would anybody prepay for concessions? Well, maybe because you'd give them a discount. So a lot of times it's actually beneficial to give somebody 20% off their concessions if they pre-buy a certain amount. And then they can have that as credit at the game. And why does that make sense for you to give away, concessions credit like that, give away 20%? There's a few big reasons for that. Number one, you get the money now instead of later. They might not even end up coming later. So you're actually capturing this money while they're thinking about it right now, and it's going to be in your account even before the game. You get the money in your account and you can spend it quicker, and you get them to make that decision faster. And we already know that people are spending more money online, so they might be considering spending it now, whereas they wouldn't if it was later on and they don't have any cash on them, etc. Number two, I hate to say it, but a lot of people that buy online tickets, not a majority or anything, but a lot of people, 10, 20%, depending on where you're at, don't end up coming to the games. So if you get their cash now for anything that they were planning to spend at the game, like you've already got it, you're not missing out on it when they don't actually show up there. So that's another reason. That's called breakage in the industry. That's another reason to potentially offer this even at a discounted price. So if 10% don't actually end up spending that concessions credit, of course you can afford to give away an extra 10%. You're break even, then. So it makes sense to potentially give a discounted concessions credit, or just at least let people buy, a pack of concessions credit there, or a concessions bundle, 2 hot dogs and 2 drinks that they can redeem once they get there, something like that. Number 2 on the list of ways to increase that revenue beyond upsells are special entrances. You can actually give somebody a special entrance in exchange for buying online. And remember, people spend more when they buy online. So this is a nice advantage to get for people, nice value add for people to get them to try to check out online in advance. But the other thing here is you maybe don't give it to everybody. You could potentially do a special VIP line, and people will pay extra for that, especially this year when they're worried about those crowds. So that's a great thing to push out there and tell people, hey, worried about, too many people coming in at the same time. We'll give you special access with only 50 other people to this special, entrance point, and it only costs an extra $10 extra or something like that. That could be an upsell. And number 3, you have the ability to do bundles, concessions, merchandise on here, and those are other ways to increase that online sale. And let's dig into that a little bit more. When we're talking about bundles, that could be a number of different things. That could be something like multiple tickets and, some concessions that are purchased together, maybe give them a discount. You see a couple options over here, $5 off any 2 games, or a 3-game bundle. You could throw in a t-shirt or some merchandise with that. Or it could be like a group package. If they buy 6 tickets at a time, they get a discounted price or something like that. It'll encourage them. If they have 5 right now, maybe they'll call up their buddy and you'll get an extra, person in the seats there. They'll spend more money, to get that slightly discounted price. Season passes, that can be a bundle of every game for the season. That's a great way to let your supporters support you. Flex passes, where they can pick, 3 of the next 7 games that they want to come to for a slightly discounted price. Something like that. These are all great tips and tricks for getting to that next level. And here, these are all things that are capable that we have the ability to do on the Passage ticketing platform as well. So keep all that in mind. But you could fake a lot of these, even if there's not a native season pass, option in your other ticketing platform. If you're using another one, you might be able to fake it by creating a separate ticket. It'll just be a pain to keep track of, but there might be something you can do there. We also have the ability on Passage, speaking of cool features that we have, to give social share discounts. This is the ability to offer a discount like you see on the right here to somebody while they're checking out. You can offer them a discount in exchange for sharing on social media. So if they click Twitter, it'll pop up a tweet. And when they click send, it goes out to their 3,000 Twitter followers. So you're spending $1 and they automatically get a discount. So you're spending $1 or whatever you want to offer them, 15 cents if you want. You can make it anything to go out to their 3 or 4 or 5,000 Twitter followers or Facebook friends who are likely in the same area, likely interested in the same things, maybe even like this person enough to want to go to an event with them. And so they want to check it out as well once they see that pop up in their feed there. It can be really powerful. So if you're using our platform, we really recommend turning that one on. It's super easy. I don't know about you, but I'll click anything for $1 as long as it's instant returns and not something that's, coupon coming back to me later. And that's exactly how this works. They instantly get that $1 off and they share that. Moving forward here, we talked about this just a little bit, but let's dive in a little deeper to season passes and flex passes. So these can be done in a couple different ways. They could be upsells or as a set package, and they could be digital passes where, they just get one digital barcode that can scan into all these games, or you can even do physical passes. Look at this nice card up here for the Detroit Legends, fake team. But we do this with a lot of our clients as well, where you can actually have that physical card and that barcode that'll scan once into each game that they have on that card there. So keep that one in mind. That is a great way to let your customers continue to support you. And I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest things that we've noticed over the last, several months of doing the, pandemic, ticketing, for lack of a better term, with virtual events, within some in person, but limited attendance events. We see that fans understand the play. They understand that their local team and local event producer that they're a fan of, they understand that it's really tough right now for you to make money, for you to keep the team going, and they want to support you. They want to use some of that stimulus check money and spend it on something that actually supports you guys. So that means you have to give them the options, whether it's those upsells we talked about, a season pass, or some other way. You really need to give them those options to support you. And these can even be gift cards or something like that in advance. So that it's not necessarily for a certain date and time. If regulations are really up in the air in your local area, that'll let them support you and know that they'll get that value eventually. Another way to generate more revenue off of an event without necessarily having more people there is by sponsorships. So with sponsorships, you have the ability, you guys know how sponsorships work already, like getting a sponsor for your event, putting their sign up and getting some bucks in the door. But we're going to take it to another level by letting them be on every ticket that is sent out, whether it's digital or, printed out or something, physical that you hand out at the event. If you tell a sponsor they're going to be on 10,000 tickets this year, if they only pay you an extra $5,000 or whatever you want to set that amount, that's going to be a huge benefit to them. And it doesn't have to be like a huge, 15 or 20 different sponsors like you see on this ticket. It could be one major sponsor, one ticket sponsor, or just a couple. And it could be a coupon that you have on there. And this will pull up on every, printed or digital ticket that is sold through our system. But again, you could usually do something like that with other systems. We also recommend throwing it on the event page. That's a great place for this to exist. So they're there when people are just checking out the events, not only post-checkout, and in the email receipts. That's another place that this can live, on a ticketing platform like ours. Now, some possible targets. You probably have already thought about local media, maybe radio or newspaper folks. They usually have some sort of sponsorship budget for local media, especially radio. Local restaurants, go down to the local Subway and say you'll put their $1 off a footlong, on coupon on every ticket you do this year. It's a great, potential. And in fact, franchises like a Subway and things like that will often have kind of set sponsorship terms that'll make it easy. They'll have recommendations from the corporate that'll say, this is how much you should think about spending locally every year. And if you can give them a really easy option like this, that's a great way to get it out there. But here's one you might not have thought of: beverage distributors. Locally, everybody has a beverage distributor within, 50 miles or something like that. And because that's just how the industry works. But what you don't know is a lot of times those beverage distributors will have brands that they handle come to them and say, hey, we want to have some local impact. Here's some sponsorship money. Please spend it how you see fit. And that's a great opportunity for you, because they don't necessarily have people that can go out and spend all their time looking for ways that they can spend the sponsorship money. But if you go ask them before they know where they're going to spend it, then you'll be first on their list, right? So look up in your yellow pages, different beverage distributors, and just ask them, hey, do you have any, sponsorship funds available for many of your brands? Because we've got a great opportunity for you to be put in front of 10,000 people, this season, or 10,000 people per game, or whatever the numbers are you do. Like, that's a great way to go to them and show them that value up front. All right, next up here, how can we actually grow the number of people we reach without having the normal capacity in our stadiums? Well, one way to do this is through virtual access. Now, this is something that we had to get into over the last year and did in a big way. We bet big. Back in March of 2020, we had 1,000 events selling tickets at the beginning of the month and 0 at the end, for all intents and purposes there. And I had investors calling us saying, like, hey, you need to hibernate because this isn't going away for a while. Just hold on and just put pause on everything. And I didn't like that. I wanted to be able to support our clients and keep our team there and that sort of thing. And so, we thought up this virtual platform, but we did it in a way that it was going to have future capabilities. So we could do virtual and in-person access to the same events. And it's been great for us. We've hosted over 700 virtual events over the last 9 months or a year since this has started. And, I think it's going to be even better going into the future. It's not going away once the pandemic ends. It's only going to increase. So think about this. You may have fans that grew up with your team, but had to move away for whatever reason. They had a job in another city and that sort of thing. They still love their hometown team and want to support them, but they don't really have any way to do that. They're not visiting home, so they can't get to a game. They don't necessarily want to order merch online, or maybe you only have it available at your merch shop locally. So you want to give them a way to support you as well. But a lot of times these live stream setups cost a ton of money, and it's not necessarily something that you're going to be able to support if you're a smaller team. You might need a sponsor to take care of those live stream costs, but they might not be there if you don't have enough viewership, that sort of thing. This is a way around all of that. You can actually either give away, access to your virtual events, or charge people a minimal amount to view virtually, view remotely through live stream access. And a great demo of that is exactly what we're doing right now. You are on our virtual live stream platform. Whoops. Skipped across the stream here, but you can see right on our platform what's going on that virtual live stream. I can show you yourself here. We've got the video screen, we've got the chat, we have the donation buttons, the content areas, and everything else down here. It's a great setup, and you can actually collect donations as your event continues, which is one of the best things of our platform. And it's one click. So if I want to click in here and donate $1, it's this easy to click donate, because we already have that card on file for somebody who's checked out online. So all of a sudden you'll see immediately this donation total increase to 16 of that 100. And you don't have to set a goal, and it can say anything you want on here. But this is a great way to collect money and even promote your sponsors. You can have them in the side content and elsewhere on here as well. So keep that in mind. You can have virtual access to any normal game, or you can also have it to special events. You can do special events with your coach, Q&A or something like that, or with the team. So there's a lot of options there, for virtual access for you guys. So got this off the screen, so we're not doing the Inception thing anymore here. But please consider virtual access. It allows guests to be part of the game even when they can't attend in person. You can reach fans all over the world. You can do it for pay what you can tickets. So you could start at $0, but let them pay money if they want to. That's another advantage. Sometimes people want to support you, but not everybody has the means. You can do a pay what you can type ticket. And you can have those instant donations and even merchandise sales. I don't have a demo of that on here, but you can have merchandise sales that pop right up over the live stream as well. And you can secure this so only registered guests or paid guests, can get in. And it could be somebody who's buying a ticket, or maybe somebody who's buying a subscription. Or you can do free guest, but at least you're still getting their contact info. So you can add them to your email list afterwards and continue to market back to them, which is something you can't do on a normal live stream. You're not going to have that capability to reach back out to those fans there. Now, I'm going to pause for just a minute before I get into the next section here. I saw another question that came up here. Is there a way to use season ticket card as a discount card with sponsors and be able to track usage? Certainly, absolutely. You can add additional redemptions onto that, but they would have to use our software to redeem those. So that's the only thing to think about there. If you want to keep track of how many times they redeem a card, they have to use our software to redeem it. So that's the only trick there. If you can convince your sponsors to be able to use that, and maybe you have an exchange depending on the number of times it's used, that's how much it costs them, that sort of thing, a pay per performance thing. Absolutely 100% that you can do that. But it's going to have that one kink in there that they have to use our software to redeem it, because of course, their own point of sale software isn't going to read our barcodes, and vice versa there. So just keep that one in mind, but it's totally doable and we'd love to chat with you more. Just hit us up at support@gopassage.com and we can definitely chat through some options for that. Another question that popped up, UPSL requires my Cujo streaming. Awesome. So one of the cool things about our streaming platform is that you don't have to use our streaming. This whole page, you can still use this page and embed my Cujo or another video platform right into this page, and we will continue to protect it so that only people who have registered, whether it's a paid or free registration, can get to this page, see the donation stuff, get to this branded, experience that you have here. And it does, it really gets people excited because it is a branded experience. It allows you to have those upsells of donations and of the merchandise upsells right in stream here. So keep that one in mind. We are agnostic on that. So we do have a free streaming platform you can use, so you don't have to pay for it. But if you want to use another one, you can plug that right in here and it works great as well. We've seen people do that with YouTube, with Vimeo. My Cujo should have an embed option, so that should be able to plug right in here. All works great. All right, thanks for the questions. Those are great. All right, going on to the next phase here. Here's a brand new setup that we have just announced, a brand new feature that we've just announced on our platform and just launched on our platform, and that's the ability to charge subscriptions to your clients. And you might think, what? Why would I charge somebody a subscription? And I want to, push that back on you to what we were just talking about earlier, that fans are trying to figure out ways to support you. And if they're real fans, and if they're a ways away or not local, or just can't attend an event right now because you're not able, because of local regulations, to have those events right now, this is the solution. You could run a special fan or supporter subscription here. Now, this could work as a season pass. So you could have it just subscribe and renew every year. So they pay once per year, but it at least auto renews them. So think of all the work you'd save if you had a season pass that you don't have to scramble to get everybody to repurchase every year. It just automatically renews them. And of course, we're going to let them know. It's not like it's a secret that they're getting auto renewed, but at least that's automatically built in. So you don't have to, worry about reaching back out to all of them every year. So it could work like that, or it could be a quarterly subscription or even a monthly subscription. And here's the cool thing. You can include access to any in-person, virtual, or past video on demand, that you want to these subscriptions. So anytime you add a new event ticket, the subscriber will get an alert that they have access to a new event that they can attend. Same with virtual access, that they can just click to log in online. And you can also do this with recordings of past events. You can have those on there as well, so that you can subscribers can get access to those past events, and that might be the value for them, right? Like maybe they'll pay $20 a month if they have access to some of these benefits. And here is an example. And if you read this, go for gold, become a gold supporter and get unlimited access to our live streams, merch discounts. You can include discounts on there as well, special event access, coach QA, and much more. So this doesn't have to include your normal games. It could just be maybe a 20% off discount on those games, or just coach, special meet and greets that are virtual with the players like this, because this is so much easier to set up than an in-person thing. You don't need in-person staff and all that. I'm doing this from my living room. I have a little green screen that I've got popped up that I got on Amazon for $30. That's behind me right now. And it's super professional, right? And I don't have to set up the whole venue and everything and have staff on hand. We can do this meet and greet, and it only takes a few minutes out of my day versus a whole thing, So keep that in mind. This is a great way to get people on board, these specialty events, coach QA, all that sort of thing, for the special subscriptions that you could have. Shadid has one on here. If they pay live access, will they also get immediate access? I think you're saying, if they're paying for in-person access, will they also get virtual access? Am I considering that right? I'll try to answer two questions. One, if they're buying tickets, online or in person, do they get immediate access? Do they get access to whatever they're purchasing tickets to immediately? Yes. So if somebody checks out on their phone while they're waiting in line, or waiting at the gate, or checks out with you at the door, they're going to immediately get those tickets. We both display them on the screen and email them to them. If they're checking out for a virtual event, they get access when that virtual event is held. So if it's a pre-recorded video and it's already available, they'll be able to go right in. But if it's scheduled like this one, they'll have to come back when the live stream is actually happening. So you guys actually could have logged in sooner. You could have, stopped by the event and swung by 3 hours early, but you just would have seen the live chat and the content area. You wouldn't have seen that, virtual screen here. And we can block it off so that people only get access during a specific time frame, to the virtual access stuff. But hopefully, one of those answers asked what you were trying to get at there. All right, so subscriptions, definitely throw some questions in there if anything else comes up, but I'm going to keep things going forward. So part 4 actually is COVID-19 help. I screwed up the numbering here on the main slide. I still need to fix that. But because of this weird world, a lot of people understand that things have been a little tough on live event producers. And there are some really cool benefits and things out there that you can apply to hopefully right the ship, get some grant money, get some loan money, that sort of thing, get some extra promotional support. And we have a whole list of resources over at pass.ag/COVID. This is another thing that we'll email you afterwards. But you can see a ton of just different opportunities to get a hold of some, funds and other things that are available in different areas. We definitely encourage you to take advantage of that. Save Our Stages is a new one that came up and is a big beneficial thing, but there are a lot of different options there. But number 2, we actually developed a program on our own called Passage Capital. Now, we're not absolutely giving away money here, but what we are able to do is give you an upfront cash bonus in exchange for working with us, for committing to working with us for a number of years. So normally, if you're working with Passage, you can come and go anytime. We require no contracts. If you don't like what you see, you can take off tomorrow and we care, we want you there, but it's a-okay with the terms and conditions and all that sort of thing. You're not signing on for a specific period. But with Passage Capital, we actually do have a contract, it'll be multi-year and that sort of thing. But in exchange, we're able to get you some cash upfront. And we have recently refunded this program. So we had some funds last year and we ran out of funds, but our investors have been generous enough to add more funds to this program for this year. So you can go apply in 5 minutes or less over at pass.ag/capital. And that's going to be a great place to go, just to, throw that registration in real quick here. I will throw that in the chat real fast. Anybody that's interested in applying, and again, we'll send this out afterwards, please just copy and paste that into your browser. Check it out. This will let you apply for that Passage Capital program and potentially get an upfront bonus of, we've had bonuses of $1,000 all the way up to, $50,000 or $60,000 that we've been able to pay out people with this program. And it's just a way to take advantage of your future sales now when you might need that money most. And then the other things, just keep communications going with fans. That's the biggest tip I can give is these folks want to support you. Give them ways to support you. Give them the ability to buy gift cards to future games and merchandise and season passes and things like that. And also just make sure that they know that you're still alive, that you're still out there. Send them a message every couple weeks and just say, hey, this is exciting stuff that we're thinking about in the future, or some news in this world of our sport, the soccer world or the basketball world or whatever world you happen to be in. So just keep all of that in mind, and keep reaching out to them there. Just so they don't forget about you guys and you're top of mind when you're able to start having events again. And that's basically it for the tips. Now, of course, we would love to help make sure your next season is your biggest yet. So we do have a special offer. Don't think you're not going to get some sort of special offer by waiting this long here. But of course, if you have any questions, throw those in the chat. We'll get to that, at the end. We'd love to answer some more questions. But here's what we want to do for you guys. We know it's tough right now. So one, definitely check out Passage Capital. Apply there. Don't forget that link down below. Number two, we want to offer you guys a free mobile Bluetooth card reader. You can use, and this is for everybody who will sign up before April 1st. We can extend that a little bit if you need just a little bit of a break on that. But use the code SPORTSWEBINAR at checkout for one of these mobile Bluetooth card readers that we have to bring your total to zero. And that's over at the shop. So if you go to gopassage.com, and you can either click shop or just go to gopassage.com/shop, we'll get you this $79 value, this mobile Bluetooth card reader. You can grab one of those right there and get that total to zero. Just pay shipping on that, and that's all. And that'll help you do contactless payments, Apple Pay, Android Pay at the door, absolutely free to you. Number two, we want to help you get set up. We know you're spinning a lot of plates on your shoulders right now, so please let us help take the load off your shoulders. So send us your schedule, send us your details, your graphics, your price points, that sort of thing, and we will set up everything for you. Just shoot us a message at start@gopassage.com. We'll be absolutely willing to help with that. I know some folks on this chat have already, taken advantage of that offer, and they might know Brandon, our head of client success, who's usually the one on the other end of that side, those conversations. But we would love to help set everything up for you in your coming season. And number three here, we want to offer you premium promotion to over 1 million sports fans that we reach every year. So we're going to have some forms going out later in just a few weeks that you can fill out when you have something that you want to submit to our promotions. And the cool thing is anybody signing up before April 1st will get premium access to being considered for those promotions that we do to these sporting fans around the US. So that's another great benefit of just signing up now versus, waiting on all of this. So with that, thank you guys so much. I know this has been a whirlwind and there was a lot of info covered. And yeah, we're definitely going to, send this out and make it available afterwards. Oh, yes, the Chipper 2X Bluetooth there, that is the current reader. So that is the one that we've already got right there. So if you already have one of those, you probably don't need another. But if you do need another, feel free to go, order another one. That's A-OK. We'll fulfill that for you just for being part of this webinar here. And if you're new and you want to get started, hit us up at passagesports.com. You can head there and click start now. It takes like 60 seconds to start an account. And of course, then you have to set up your event and stuff, but it's really easy to start. And it's all free. You can email us at start@gopassage.com or call this number here. Shane is in the chat. He's our head of sports sales, and he'll be picking up the line there to help you figure out what makes the most sense for your organization. Oh, and you can even schedule a demo at demo.passagesports.com if you want to do something like that as well. So with that, I will wait around for just a few more minutes to see if there are any other questions that pop up here. But thanks a ton for attending. It's going to be a crazy year. So we really hope that this is something that'll work out for you guys and help you guys reach more fans and sell more tickets this year. Now, I do see one more coming up for the donation banner. Do donors receive a receipt from organization? Does org get donor info? Great question. So there are a couple different ways to do donations on our system. Number one is here on the virtual events. So they get a receipt. The customer always gets a receipt whenever they check out. That's required by law. So we make sure that happens, and they'll get a notification that they make a donation. As far as notifying the organization, you can absolutely do that with the one that says an upsell there, but the one in the virtual screen here right now, we can't do that yet. But it's a great, potential feature request for the future. But with the upsells, we can certainly have a notification that goes out that there was a donation made, and that can go directly to the organization you're trying to support, or yourself if it's for you guys as well. Yeah, no problem, guys. I appreciate you attending. Thanks everyone for being here as well. So cool. I think we've gotten through all the back questions. If there's anything else, speak now or forever hold your peace. But we appreciate you guys, and here's to a great year. I think it's going to be a really interesting year. But like I say, we really do expect fans to be super excited to get back in, and we're already seeing that from some of the early ticket sales going on right now. So expect a rush and a lot of happy fans when you guys are able to open your doors, whether it's in the next few weeks or later this year or even next year. You're going to have a lot of happy fans there waiting to see you. All right, guys. Again, this is Alex Linebrink at Passage Ticketing. I'm going to be signing off here. Thanks a ton for attending, and best wishes to a great event and tons of happy fans this year. Thanks.